The discovery. The twin suns of Drax's IV hung low in the sky, casting an orange glow across the barren wasteland. The air shimmered with heat, and the ground was cracked and dry. Somewhere in the distance, the wind howled like a whisper of forgotten secrets. Alex Rains, a human archaeologist with a knack for finding the impossible, wiped the sweat from his brow and stared at the ancient ruins before him. Just one more scan, he muttered to himself, adjusting his visor. His excavation team had abandoned him weeks ago, calling him obsessed. But Alex was certain he was close to something extraordinary, something that could rewrite history. The ruins were alien, etched with strange symbols and carvings that pulsed faintly in the dim light. For weeks, Alex had been trying to decode them, but their meaning remained elusive. Today, however, something felt different. A faint hum vibrated through the air, almost like a heartbeat. As Alex ventured deeper into the ruins, his handheld scanner beeped wildly. He followed the signal until he reached a chamber unlike anything he'd seen before. Massive stone pillars rose from the floor, each adorned with glowing blue symbols. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and on it lay a blade. The blade was unlike any weapon Alex had ever seen. It was sleek and metallic, yet it shimmered as though made of liquid light. Strange glyphs ran along its surface, shifting and changing as he watched. The air around it felt charged, like the moments before a lightning strike. Alex approached cautiously, his heart pounding. "This must be it," he whispered. "The artifact they wrote about in the ancient texts. But why is it just here?" He reached out, his fingers trembling. The moment he touched the blade, a surge of energy shot through his body. He gasped, feeling his muscles tense and his mind flood with strange images, flashes of battles, alien worlds, and a throne room bathed in shadow. The blade felt alive. Its hum grew louder, resonating deep in his chest. Suddenly, a voice, ancient and commanding, echoed in his mind. "You are not the chosen one, yet you dare touch me." Alex stumbled back, his breathing ragged. What was that? Before he could process what was happening, the ruins began to shake. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling as the hum of the blade grew deafening. Alex realized too late that taking the blade had triggered some kind of alarm. He stuffed the blade into his satchel and ran, dodging falling rocks and collapsing pillars. The chamber was caving in, and the only exit was a narrow passage ahead. The glow of the blade lit his path as he sprinted for his life. When he emerged into the open wasteland, he collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. Behind him, the ruins crumbled into dust, leaving no trace of the chamber or its secrets. For a moment, Alex allowed himself to believe he was safe, but then he noticed something strange. The sky above was darkening, and an unnatural silence had fallen over the desert. He looked up and froze. A massive alien ship loomed above him, its sleek, organic design unlike anything human-made. The ship descended slowly, its engines emitting a low, menacing hum. Alex scrambled to his feet, gripping the blade tightly. As the ship landed, a door slid open with a hiss. From the shadows, figures emerged, tall, armored aliens with glowing red eyes. They moved with precision, their weapons trained on Alex. One of them stepped forward, taller than the rest, and clad in ornate armor. Her presence was commanding, her gaze cold and unyielding. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. The alien woman spoke, her voice sharp and laced with authority. "Human," she said in perfect English, her eyes narrowing. "You have taken what does not belong to you. The sacred blade of my people is not for your kind to wield." Alex swallowed hard, his mind racing. He raised his hands in surrender. "I didn't know. I didn't mean to." Silence. The alien queen snapped. Her soldiers raised their weapons, ready to fire at her command. "The blade has chosen you, but that does not mean you are worthy. Return it now or face the consequences." Alex hesitated, his grip tightening on the blade. The strange energy he felt earlier was still there, coursing through his veins. Something told him that giving up the blade would not guarantee his safety. "I'll return it," Alex said carefully, "but I need answers first. What is this blade? Why is it so important to you?" The Queen's eyes flashed with anger. "You dare demand answers from me? Foolish human, you have no idea what you've unleashed." Before Alex could respond, the blade in his hand began to glow brighter. The hum grew louder, drowning out all other sounds. Then, for the second time, the voice spoke in his mind. "You are now bound to me. Your journey has just begun." The Queen's expression shifted from anger to something else. Fear. She stepped back, her soldiers hesitating. "No," she whispered. "It cannot be. The prophecy." Alex stared at her, confused and terrified. "What prophecy? What's happening?" The Queen pointed a clawed finger at him, her voice trembling with fury. "You will regret this, human. You have brought the wrath of the Exarethra Empire upon yourself. There will be no escape." The alien soldiers closed in, their weapons humming with lethal energy. Alex gripped the blade, feeling its power surge through him. For better or worse, his fate was sealed. The Queen's wrath. The black void of space was eerily silent, save for the faint hum of Sarathra's flagship, the Obsidian Sovereign, as it hovered above the ruins of Draxus IV. Inside the massive vessel, the atmosphere was tense. The air smelled faintly of metal and ozone, and the faint hum of the ship's engines resonated like a predator's growl. In the heart of the ship stood Queen Sarethra, a towering alien figure draped in shimmering biomechanical armor. Her emerald-green skin glowed faintly under the dim lighting, and her golden eyes burned with fury. She paced the command chamber, her sharp talons tapping rhythmically against the metallic floor. Before her, a holographic display showed a human figure, Alex Rains, holding the sacred blade. The image flickered, and a low growl escaped Zarethra's throat. "How dare he?" she hissed, her voice sharp and venomous. "A human, defiling the blade of Eterna. He doesn't even understand what he's taken." One of her generals, a squat alien with a face like a cracked mask, stepped forward nervously. "My queen," the human seems, ignorant of its significance. "Shall we?" "Silence!" Sarethra snapped, her eyes narrowing. "Ignorance is no excuse. That blade belongs to the Eterna. It is our legacy, our birthright." The general bowed his head. "Of course, my queen. Shall we deploy the hunter squads?" Sarethra tilted her head, considering. The flickering hologram of Alex continued to glow, and for a moment, her anger gave way to something colder, calculated malice. "No," she said finally, a cruel smile curving her lips. "I will deal with this thief myself. Prepare the landing pod. I will retrieve the blade and show the human what it means to cross the Exarethra Empire." Alex Rains crouched behind a jagged rock formation, his breath shallow. The air on Draxus IV was heavy with heat, and sweat dripped down his face as he clutched the alien blade. Its surface glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. He had barely escaped the ruins before they collapsed into dust. Now he was stranded in the middle of nowhere, with no idea what to do next. His ship was miles away, hidden in a canyon, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The blade felt warm in his hand, almost alive. He had tried to drop it earlier, but it refused to leave his grip, as if it had fused itself to him. "Great," he muttered under his breath. "Stuck on a desert planet with a cursed weapon. Fantastic life choices. Alex." A low rumble interrupted his thoughts. He looked up and froze. The alien ship descended from the sky, its massive shadow stretching across the wasteland. Alex's heart pounded as the ship landed with a deafening thud, kicking up a cloud of dust. He ducked lower behind the rock, his mind racing. What do they want? Is it the blade, or is it me? The ship's ramp extended with a hiss, and figures began to emerge. The first to step out was Sarethra, her imposing figure silhouetted against the glow of the ship's interior. Her golden eyes scanned the horizon, And when they landed on Alex's hiding spot, she smiled. "Human," her voice boomed, amplified by the ship's speakers. "You have taken what belongs to me. Surrender the blade of Eterna, and I may show you mercy." Alex peeked over the rock, his pulse racing. "Mercy? Yeah, right," he muttered. He tightened his grip on the blade. Zarathra raised her clawed hand, and her soldiers, sleek, biomechanical warriors armed with energy rifles, spread out across the desert. "You cannot hide," she continued. "The blade has chosen you, yes, but it is not yours to wield. Return it, and I will spare your miserable life." Alex's thoughts raced. Why had the blade chosen him? What did she mean by chosen? None of this made sense, but one thing was clear. She wasn't going to let him leave alive. The blade began to hum louder, its glow intensifying. Alex felt a strange sensation, a surge of energy coursing through his body. The whispers returned, faint but insistent. "Do not fear her," the voice said in his mind. "You are my wielder now. Fight." "Easy for you to say," Alex muttered. Zarathra raised her hand again, and her soldiers opened fire. Blue energy bolts streaked through the air, slamming into the rocks around Alex. He ducked, feeling the heat of the blasts. "Enough of this," Zarathra growled. She stepped forward, her armor shifting and glowing with strange energy. With a flick of her wrist, she sent a shockwave rippling across the ground, shattering the rocks Alex hid behind. Thrown to the ground, Alex scrambled to his feet, the blade clutched tightly in his hand. Zarathra approached slowly, her golden eyes gleaming with triumph. "You are no warrior," she said, her voice cold. "Give up. You are unworthy of the blade." Alex stared at her, fear and defiance warring within him. "Maybe I'm not worthy," he said, lifting the blade. "But you're not getting it." The blade erupted with light, its hum rising to a deafening pitch. Zarathra recoiled slightly, her eyes narrowing in surprise. "So," she said, her tone softer but no less menacing, "the blade has truly chosen you. Interesting, but that won't save you." With a roar, she charged, her claws glowing with lethal energy. Alex raised the blade, and for the first time, it felt like it responded to him, moving not as a tool, but as an extension of his body. The clash of energy lit up the desert as Zarathra and Alex faced off, her fury meeting his desperation. The blade's secret. The silence of space wrapped around Alex's reins like a suffocating blanket as he stared out the viewport of the stolen alien ship. Stars streaked past, but his mind was elsewhere, locked onto the glowing blade resting on the table before him. The hum of the blade had subsided since his escape from Zarathra, but its presence was impossible to ignore. "You're more trouble than you're worth," Alex muttered, his voice breaking the quiet. The ship's onboard eye, a monotone female voice named Lyra, chimed in. Statement: talking to an inanimate object indicates heightened stress levels. Would you like to initiate calming protocols? Not now, Lyra, Alex replied, rubbing his temples. He couldn't shake the memory of the voice in his head, the way the blade had guided him in the fight against Zarathra. He had survived. Barely, but the Queen's parting words haunted him. You've awakened something far greater than yourself, human. The blade will be your salvation, and your doom. A soft clang echoed through the ship as Alex's crewmate, Tess, entered the cabin. Tess was a former smuggler with a sharp tongue and a knack for trouble. You're still staring at that thing, she said, leaning against the doorway. Her fiery red hair was tied back, and her jumpsuit was streaked with grease. It's not gonna sprout legs and start dancing, you know. Alex gave her a tired look. It's not just a thing, Tess. It's alive, or something close to it. Tess rolled her eyes. Sure, Alex, and I'm the Queen of Draxus. Look, we stole the ship, we got away, and now we're alive. Let's focus on that instead of your glowing sword of doom. Before Alex could respond, the blade began to glow faintly, its hum filling the room. Tess froze, her hand drifting toward the pistol at her side. "What the hell is it doing now?" she whispered. The hum grew louder, and the blade's glyphs lit up, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Suddenly, Alex felt a pull, like his mind was being dragged somewhere else. Alex found himself standing in a vast, empty void. The ground beneath his feet shimmered like liquid silver, and the air was thick with static. In the distance, a towering figure emerged from the mist. It was humanoid but larger than life, with flowing robes of light and a face that shifted between countless forms. Who are you?" Alex asked, his voice trembling. The figure's voice echoed in his mind, deep and resonant. "I am Eterna, the will of the blade you now wield. You have been chosen, Alex Rains, but you are not yet worthy." Alex clenched his fists. "Chosen for what? Why me? I didn't ask for any of this." "The blade seeks balance," Eterna replied. "It was forged to unite, to destroy tyranny, to bring justice. But it is not without cost. Those who wield it carry a burden that cannot be undone." Images flashed before Alex's eyes. Planets engulfed in flames, armies clashing in brutal wars, and a throne shrouded in darkness. In each vision, the blade was at the center, its power shaping the fate of entire civilizations. Alex took a step back. "I didn't sign up to be some cosmic pawn. Take it back." Eterna's voice grew colder. "The blade does not choose lightly. It has seen in you the potential to fight, to lead. But if you cannot rise to this challenge, you will be consumed by it." The void began to crack, the silver ground shattering like glass. As Alex fell, Eterna's final words echoed in his mind. "Beware the queen. She is not the greatest threat you will face." Alex jolted awake, gasping for air. The hum of the blade had stopped, and the cabin was silent. Tess was shaking him, her eyes wide with concern. "Alex, what happened? You went stiff as a board for a minute." He stared at her, his heart racing. "The blade. It's alive. It spoke to me. There's something bigger going on. Something bigger than Terethra." Tess groaned. "Great. As if an angry alien queen wasn't enough. Now your sword has a god complex. What's next? A prophecy?" Before Alex could answer, the ship's alarm blared, and Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. "Warning. Unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. Weapons systems detected." Alex and Tess exchanged a look. "It's her," Alex said, grabbing the blade. Tess smirked, her pistol already in hand. "I guess she's not a fan of stolen artifacts." The ship shook violently as a blast rocked the hull. Through the viewport, Alex saw a fleet of Serathra's warships closing in. But this time, the blade didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a weapon, waiting to be unleashed. The chase across stars. The stolen ship hurtled through the black expanse of space, its engines sputtering and groaning under the strain. Alex Rains gripped the controls, sweat dripping from his brow as warning lights flashed across the console. Behind him, Tess clung to her seat, her knuckles white. "Tell me this thing has shields," Tess shouted, her voice barely audible over the sound of blaring alarms. "Shields." Alex shot back, dodging another volley of plasma bolts from the pursuing alien ships. "I'm amazed it even has engines." The three sleek biomechanical vessels behind them weren't giving up. Their weapons lit up the void like fireworks, each blast narrowly missing Alex's clunky ship. "Lyra." Alex barked at the ship's eye. "Can we go faster?" Lyra's calm, monotone voice responded without urgency. "Clarification. This vessel is already operating at 120% capacity. Further acceleration is not advised." "Not advised." Tess yelled. "We're about to be space dust." As another explosion rattled the hull, Alex made a sharp turn, weaving between a dense asteroid field. The alien ships followed with precision, their design clearly superior. "They're not giving up," Alex muttered, glancing at the glowing blade strapped to his belt. It pulsed faintly, almost as if it were mocking him. "Maybe if you used the magic sword, we wouldn't be in this mess." Tess snapped, fumbling with a control panel to reroute power to the engines. "Use it how?" Alex retorted. "It doesn't come with a user manual." Before Tess could reply, Lyra's voice interrupted. "Warning. Incoming warp signature detected." A massive ship emerged from hyperspace, its silhouette dominating the stars. It was Sarathra's flagship, the Obsidian Sovereign. Alex's stomach sank. Oh great, she brought the big guns. The flagship didn't fire immediately. Instead, a transmission crackled through the comm system, and Sarathra's voice filled the cabin. "Human," she said, her tone icy and commanding. "You can't run forever. Surrender the blade, and I may let you and your little friend live." Alex hesitated, his fingers hovering over the controls. He glanced at Tess, who shook her head. "Don't even think about it," she said. "Yeah, I figured," Alex replied, flipping the switch to cut off the transmission. Sarathra's voice cut out, but the pursuing ships opened fire again, forcing Alex to dive deeper into the asteroid field. The ship's hull groaned under the strain, and the viewport filled with jagged rocks spinning in every direction. The blade began to hum, louder than before. Alex felt the now familiar pull in his chest, the strange sensation of the blade's energy connecting with him. His vision blurred, and the whispers returned. "There is no escape, Alex Rains," the voice said. "The Queen's power is great, but you hold the key to stopping her. Trust the blade." "Trust it to do what?" Alex muttered. The hum grew louder, drowning out the sound of the ship's alarms. The blade pulsed, and Alex's hand moved to it instinctively. As his fingers wrapped around the hilt, a flood of energy coursed through him, sharp and electrifying. "Alex," Tess shouted, "what are you doing?" But Alex wasn't listening. The blade glowed brighter, and suddenly, his mind was filled with a map, a star chart of the surrounding systems, overlaid with a single glowing point. "There," Alex said, pointing to the chart. "That's our way out." Tess stared at him. "What are you talking about?" "There's nothing there." "I don't know how I know," Alex replied. "But I know." "Trust me," Tess groaned. "Fine. But if we die, I'm haunting you." Alex adjusted the ship's course, guiding it toward the glowing point on the map. The alien ships followed, their weapons pounding relentlessly at the ship's weakening shields. As they neared the destination, something unexpected happened. The glowing point on the map materialized into a swirling vortex of light, an ancient warp gate hidden in the void. It looked unstable, its edges crackling with energy, but Alex knew it was their only chance. "Lyra," Alex said, gripping the controls tightly. "Can we make it through that thing?" "Probability of successful passage, 27%, the AI replied. "Better odds than nothing," Tess muttered. The alien ships hesitated, their formation breaking as the warp gate came into view. Sarathra's voice crackled through the comms again, her tone laced with fury. "Do not enter that gate, human. You have no idea what lies beyond." "Neither do you," Alex muttered under his breath. With a final surge of power, Alex pushed the ship into the gate. The vortex swallowed them whole, and for a moment, everything went white. On the other side of the gate, they found themselves in uncharted space. The ship's systems were flickering, but they were alive. Alex exhaled, slumping back in his seat. "Where are we?" Tess asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex stared out at the stars, unfamiliar constellations filling the viewport. "I don't know," he admitted, "but we're not dead, so that's a win." The blade pulsed faintly at his side, its hum almost reassuring, but Alex knew this wasn't over. Sarathra wouldn't stop, and the blade's power came with a price he still didn't fully understand: betrayal and revelation. The air inside the alien station was heavy, the silence broken only by the faint hum of unseen machinery. Alex's reins gripped the blade tightly as he moved cautiously down the dimly lit corridor, its shifting glyphs casting strange shadows on the walls. Beside him, Tess scanned their surroundings with her pistol drawn, her eyes darting at every flicker of movement. "Are we sure this is a good idea?" Tess whispered. "Not even a little," Alex replied, keeping his voice low. "But the blade brought us here for a reason. And you're trusting it now. You don't even know what it wants," Tess hissed. Alex paused, his gaze fixed on the end of the corridor where a massive door stood, its surface inscribed with ancient glyphs that pulsed faintly. The blade began to hum louder, its light growing brighter. "I don't know what it wants," Alex admitted, "but I know Xerathra does. If we're going to stop her, this place might hold the answer." Tess rolled her eyes but followed as the door slid open with a low hiss. The chamber beyond was vast and otherworldly. At its center stood a monolithic device, its structure resembling a hybrid of machinery and organic life. Tubes of glowing liquid pulsed like veins, and a faint energy field surrounded it, crackling with restrained power. Alex approached cautiously, the blade in his hand resonating with the device. The glyphs on the blade matched those etched onto the machine, as if they were two parts of the same whole. "This is it," Alex said, his voice filled with awe. "What is it?" Tess asked, her tone more skeptical than curious. Before Alex could respond, the blade's hum intensified, and a beam of light shot out from its tip, striking the monolith. The room was bathed in light, and a voice, calm yet commanding, filled the air. "You have brought the key," the voice said, "accessing the archives of the Eterna." Alex and Tess exchanged a glance as holographic images appeared around them, displaying a history far older than anything they'd ever imagined. Planets burning, armies marching, and at the center of it all, a younger Xerathra, her ambition boundless as she wielded the blade. "She was the wielder?" Alex asked, staring at the image. The voice continued. "Queen Xerathra betrayed the covenant of the Eterna. She sought to use the blade's power to subjugate, not unite. When her tyranny threatened the galaxy, the blade rejected her. The key was hidden, awaiting a new wielder." Tess frowned. "So the blade chose you to stop her? Why? What makes you special?" "I don't know," Alex admitted. "But it's clear the blade doesn't want her getting it back." A sudden noise broke the moment. The faint sound of footsteps echoed through the chamber. Tess spun around, her pistol raised. "We've got company." From the shadows emerged Kieran, one of Alex's crewmates. A former bounty hunter with sharp instincts and a sharper blade, Kieran had joined their ragtag team reluctantly. "Kieran, what are you doing here?" Alex asked, lowering the blade slightly. Kieran smirked, but there was no humor in his eyes. "Cleaning up loose ends." Before Alex could react, Kieran raised a small device and pressed a button. An energy field erupted around Alex and Tess, trapping them in place. "Kieran, what the hell?" Tess yelled, struggling against the field. "Sorry, Rains," Kieran said, his tone cold. "Xerathra made me an offer I couldn't refuse. She gets the blade, and I get to walk away a rich man." Alex's heart sank. "You don't understand what you're doing. If she gets the blade, she'll destroy everything." "Not my problem," Kieran replied, stepping closer to the monolith. "Hand it over, Alex." The blade pulsed violently, its hum turning into a low growl. Alex felt a surge of energy course through him, and the field trapping him flickered for a moment. The voice of the blade echoed in his mind. "He is unworthy. Protect the key." With a shout, Alex forced the blade's energy outward, shattering the field. Tess dropped to the ground, quickly aiming her pistol at Kieran. "Traitor," she spat, firing a warning shot at his feet. Kieran snarled, drawing his own weapon. "You think you can stop me? This isn't personal. It's survival." The room erupted into chaos as Alex lunged at Kieran, the blade sparking as it clashed with Kieran's energy weapon. The monolith flickered, its holographic images distorting as the fight raged. "Kirin, stop!" Alex shouted. "You don't know what you're messing with." Kirin sneered. "I know exactly what I'm doing." The fight ended as quickly as it began. Alex managed to disarm Kirin, the blade glowing ominously as its tip hovered near Kirin's throat. Kirin froze, his expression shifting from defiance to fear. "You won't do it," Kirin said, his voice trembling. Alex hesitated, the weight of the blade's power pressing down on him. The whispers urged him forward, but he pulled back, lowering the weapon. "I'm not like Sarathra," Alex said quietly. "I don't kill for power." Tess moved in, securing Kirin's hands with a set of restraints. "Nice speech, but we're keeping an eye on him from now on." As they turned back to the monolith, the voice of the Eterna spoke again. "You have passed the first test. The true battle lies ahead. The final stand." The twin moons of Verith Prime cast a pale, eerie light over the jagged cliffs and crimson sands. The winds howled through the valley, carrying with them the metallic tang of impending violence. In the distance, the flicker of fires lit the horizon, marking the camp of Queen Sarethra's army. Alex Rains tightened his grip on the blade as he stood atop a rocky ridge, his breath visible in the cold night air. The blade pulsed faintly, its glyphs glowing like a heartbeat in the darkness. Behind him, Tess and the remaining members of their Ragdig crew made final preparations. "You really think this is gonna work?" Tess asked, her voice low but sharp. She adjusted the straps on her weapon harness, her face tense. Alex glanced at her, his expression resolute. "It has to. The blade brought us here for a reason. This is where it ends." Tess let out a bitter laugh. "That's not comforting, you know. You're betting on a magic sword and some vague prophecy to be a galactic tyrant." Alex didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the camp below, where Xerathra's massive flagship, the Obsidian Sovereign, loomed like a predator waiting to strike. The Queen herself would be there, waiting for him. Inside the flagship, Xerathra prepared for the final confrontation. Her throne room was a cathedral of power, towering pillars of black metal, pulsating veins of energy coursing through the walls, and a central dais where her throne gleamed ominously. Xerathra sat in her armor, its biomechanical plates shifting and pulsing like a living organism. Before her knelt Kirin, battered and bruised from his earlier betrayal of Alex. "You failed me," Xerathra said, her voice sharp and cold. Kirin kept his head bowed. "The blade. It chose him. I couldn't stop it." Xerathra rose, her golden eyes blazing. "The blade is a tool, nothing more. It obeys the will of the strong, and I will reclaim it." She turned to her general, a towering creature with glowing crimson eyes. "Prepare the troops. Let the human come. I will crush him myself." As the sun began to rise, Alex descended into the valley. His crew stayed behind, hidden among the rocks, ready to act if things went sideways. Tess grabbed his arm as he passed her. "Don't be a hero," she said. Alex smiled faintly. Too late for that. He walked alone toward the camp, the blade's hum growing louder with every step. The ground seemed to tremble beneath him, as if the planet itself anticipated the battle to come. The confrontation began in silence. Xerathra emerged from her camp, flanked by her elite guards. Her armor gleamed in the morning light, and her presence was as overwhelming as ever. "You came," she said, her voice carrying across the valley. Alex stopped a few meters away, the blade held loosely at his side. "You gave me no choice." Xerathra tilted her head, a cruel smile curving her lips. "You think that blade makes you my equal. You are nothing but a thief playing with power you don't understand." Alex raised the blade, its light intensifying. "Maybe. But I'm done running. This ends here." Xerathra laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Indeed, it does." The battle erupted with explosive violence. Xerathra's guards attacked first, their energy weapons lighting up the battlefield. Alex moved faster than he thought possible, the blade guiding his strikes as he cut through them. Sparks flew, and the air filled with the acrid scent of burning metal. The queen watched, her expression unreadable. When the last of her guards fell, she stepped forward, her claws glowing with dark energy. "Impressive," she said, "but you're no match for me." She lunged, her speed and strength overwhelming. Alex barely blocked her first strike, the impact sending a shockwave through the ground. The blade vibrated in his hands, its hum rising to a scream. The two clashed again and again, their movements a blur of light and shadow. Xerathra's power was monstrous, each blow shaking Alex to his core. But the blade fought back, its energy surging through him, amplifying his strength and reflexes. "You're holding back," Xerathra sneered, her claws raking across his shoulder. "The blade is feeding off you, but it's not enough. You don't have the will to wield it fully." Alex gritted his teeth, ignoring the pain. "I don't need the blade to stop you." With a roar, he drove forward, his strikes growing faster and more precise. For the first time, Xerathra faltered, her movements slowing as Alex pressed the attack. But victory came at a cost. Xerathra unleashed a desperate attack, a surge of dark energy that engulfed the battlefield. Alex was thrown back, the blade skidding across the ground. The queen approached him slowly, her armor cracked, but her determination unbroken. "You fought well, human," she said, "but this is over." Alex reached for the blade, his hand trembling. The whispers returned, louder than ever. "The blade's full power comes with a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Alex hesitated for only a moment before gripping the hilt. "Do it," he whispered. The blade erupted in light, its energy coursing through him like fire. Xerathra recoiled, shielding her eyes. When the light faded, Alex stood taller, his body glowing with the blade's energy. The final clash was swift and decisive. With a single, devastating strike, Alex shattered Xerathra's armor and brought her to her knees. The queen looked up at him, her expression a mixture of rage and fear. "You think you've won," she spat. "The blade's power will destroy you. It destroys everyone." Alex lowered the blade, his breathing heavy. "Then I'll make sure it's used for something better than you." The legacy of the blade. The battlefield was silent. The once proud armies of Queen Xerathra had flowed into the darkness of space, leaving behind only the scars of their defeat on the red sands of Vereth Prime. The twin moons bathed the valley in cold light, but Alex Rains felt no triumph. The blade, still humming faintly in his hand, weighed heavier than ever. Beside him, Tess crouched near the wreckage of their stolen ship, tending to the wounded crew members. Her fiery determination had dimmed, replaced by quiet exhaustion. She looked up at Alex, her voice soft but urgent. "Alex, you need to sit. You're bleeding." Alex shook his head, staring out into the distant horizon, where Xerathra's flagship had vanished. "It's not over," he said, his voice hollow. "I can feel it." Tess sighed, wiping the sweat and grime from her face. "It's over for now. You need to rest, or you're going to get yourself killed before the next fight even starts." Alex turned to her, the faint glow of the blade casting eerie shadows across his face. "This fight doesn't end, Tess. Not with Xerathra gone." In the distance, the sky tore open. A ripple of light stretched across the heavens, unnatural and foreboding. From the tear emerged a colossal fleet, sleek and deadly, their silhouettes darker than the void of space. These were not Xerathra's ships. Their design was alien, even to her empire. The blade in Alex's hand began to vibrate violently, its hum rising to an urgent pitch. "Alex," Tess said, her voice trembling. "What is that?" He stared at the fleet, a sinking realization settling in his chest. "The blade warned me," he murmured. "There's something bigger out there." Xerathra was just the beginning. The blade's voice returned, ancient and calm yet brimming with authority. They are the Voidborn, the true enemies of the Eterna. They come for the blade, as they always have. Tess frowned, stepping closer. The Voidborn. Who are they? Alex's grip on the blade tightened. Something worse than Zerethra, apparently. The Voidborn fleet began its assault. Energy beams rained down from the ships, striking the valley with pinpoint precision. Alex grabbed Tess and dove behind a rocky outcrop as explosions tore through the ground around them. "Lyra, get us out of here," Tess shouted into her comm device. The ship's A responded, its voice crackling. Engines compromised. Evacuation unlikely. Alex looked at Tess, determination hardening his features. "We're not running this time." "Are you insane?" Tess snapped. "We can't fight that." The blade flared brighter, and the voice echoed again. "You must." Alex made his choice. Standing tall amidst the chaos, he raised the blade. Its energy surged, forming a protective barrier that shielded him and his crew from the Voidborn's onslaught. The glyphs on the blade shifted, revealing new patterns as its power continued to grow. Tess shielded her eyes from the light. "What's happening?" Alex gritted his teeth. "The blade, it's unlocking something, but it needs more." "More of what?" Tess demanded. Alex's voice was steady, though tinged with regret. "Me." The blade revealed its true purpose. Alex felt the energy of the blade consume him, merging with his very essence. His vision blurred, and he was once again in the strange, silver void where he had first encountered Eterna. The towering, shifting figure stood before him, its presence overwhelming. "You understand now," Eterna said. "The blade is not a weapon. It is a bridge, a connection to the power of the Eterna. Through it, you become more." Alex stared at the figure, his voice shaking. "What happens to me?" "You will no longer be human," Eterna replied. "You will become the blade's guardian, its wielder eternal. It is the only way to stop the Voidborn." Alex hesitated, the weight of the decision crashing down on him. Will it end the war? Eterna's response was solemn. "The Voidborn are endless, but with the blade you can hold the line. You can give the galaxy a chance to survive." Back in the physical world, Tess watched in horror as Alex's body began to glow. The blade fused with him, its energy enveloping him in a radiant aura. His eyes glowed with the same shifting light as the glyphs, and when he spoke, his voice carried an otherworldly resonance. "Tess," he said softly, "get the crew to safety." "What are you doing?" she demanded, tears in her eyes. He smiled faintly, a mixture of sorrow and resolve. "What I have to." Before she could stop him, Alex launched himself into the sky, the blade's energy propelling him toward the Voidborn fleet. The ships fired upon him, but his glowing form cut through their defenses like a meteor. The final battle began. Alex tore through the Voidborn armada, the blade's power allowing him to destroy ships with a single strike. But for every ship he felled, more emerged from the rift, their numbers seemingly endless. As he fought, the blade spoke to him. "This is your purpose, Alex Rains, to stand between the galaxy and oblivion. You are the last hope." The fleet retreated, but the cost was clear. With a final surge of energy, Alex sealed the rift, cutting off the Voidborn reinforcements. The remaining ships scattered, retreating into the void. On the ground, Tess and the crew watched as the light of the blade faded, and Alex disappeared with it. "Is he gone?" one of the crewmates asked. Tess wiped a tear from her cheek. "He's not gone. He's out there, still fighting."